flew the G-200 for the first time in March of last year. During the first takeoff roll, I knew that I had something that was a whole lot more performance than my pits. The roll rate and the control pressures have just turned out to be a lot more than I could have dreamed that they were going to be. We're getting approximately 2,300 feet of vertical penetration out of straight and level full power. The roll rate has been timed on video, multiple rolls in excess of 500 degrees per second. And we've not been able to find anything that the airplane does not do extremely well and extremely easily.
First impressions, first one is just the visibility out of the airplane. It really was quite good, especially after flying the pits or one of the yaks. Taxi out, very simple, easy takeoff. Two things surprised me on the flight. One, I knew it had a very fast roll rate, but I wasn't ready for how quickly and positively it stops the roll. If you're not exactly on when you neutralize the ailerons, every judge in the world will see the error. The other one, it was how docile the airplane is on landing. It really is, goes straight. The only way it'll act otherwise is if you wiggle the rudders back and forth. The biggest problem with flying this airplane is you have a permanent grin and you get creases on your cheek.
Design goals for the G-200 were to build an airplane, a competition aerobatic airplane that could compete with the very best that was available in the world at an unlimited level and still be affordable. At the time I was flying a four-cylinder powered Pitts, and it looked like in order to be competitive, a person was going to have to go to a six-cylinder Lycoming. And I had a hard enough time just figuring out how to keep gas and oil and maintenance on my four-cylinder. And so I wanted to stay with that engine combination. And I felt that it was very important to go to a monoplane.
Compared to Pitts, there really isn't a comparison. I do a lot of dual in an S2B, and it seems to me about the same way as going from the S2B and fly a decathlon. It's just a magnitude that large to jump up and fly this thing.
The airplane is almost identical to how I designed it in the middle 70s. As I mentioned, I was flying a four-cylinder Pitts, an S1, and I knew that I wanted to go to a monoplane. And the most influential airplane at that time was Leo's Laser. And the only design change that I made from the first drawings in the 70s were when we saw the cap in the 1980 World Contest and the new, what we call the blunt nose slab-sided airfoils. That was really the only design change I made from the original drawings in the middle 70s. The construction of the aircraft is all carbon fiber. When I first drew up the airplane, it was my intention to build it out of steel tubing and a wood wing. I knew that it was going to be impossible to get the kind of horsepower to weight ratios and to keep the airplane as light as I wanted it with conventional building materials. I was real intrigued with carbon fiber and some of the composites that were just starting to become available. However, when I first designed the airplane, they simply were not available. The expense of those materials was such that to build a carbon fiber airplane would have cost me probably somewhere in the vicinity of $500,000. That's one of the reasons that we didn't see the airplane until the 1990s. The availability of composites, particularly the carbon fiber, simply was not affordable to a guy like me who wanted to build a small single-place aerobatic airplane. With the advent of some of the composite airplanes such as the Lancer, the Glasair, the technology has expanded. Also with the technology being available from the aerospace industry into the mainstream and into the private sector, the price and the availability both of composites has come into the affordable range for the average guy. Composites and used in primary structures is something that's relatively new to aerobatic airplanes. At the present time, we have the Extra, the new Cap 231EX, the Sukhois, the Edge airplane here in this country, and but still a relatively small number of our aerobatic airplanes are built out of composites. When we look at the rest of aviation, however, composites are neither new or very novel. The technology that we're using has been well documented and well understood for a number of years. The Germans and the Europeans have been building gliders out of composite materials for over 40 years. So it is the adaptation of a process and a material that was very well understood and very well known into an area of aviation where it had not been seen before, which has caused some question. One of the things that's real important to understand about composites is that while they are very different from metal or wood, they have a certain set of advantages. They also have a certain set of things that need to be done during construction and also in their care after an airplane has been constructed. Just like you wouldn't want to go out and fly a metal airplane that was full of corrosion, you wouldn't want to go out and fly your composite airplane that had obvious physical damage to the surfaces. But it's something that's different, and it does offer us the ability to build airframes that are very light for their strength, very durable. It's possible to build structures that have virtually no fatigue.
So I was there when they sandbagged the wing to test the stress for the G-load, and it was frightening just watching all the sandbags up there, and we did not get the amount of deflection that was indicated from the initial engineering studies. So it is a sturdy wing.
The load limits that we started out with to look at were plus and minus 12 Gs. The airplane at its normal aerobatic gross weight never comes even close to the structural limits of the design.
So the last thing I want to ask you, Ralph, is that you're sitting on the tail of the airplane. What happens if you do this on a Pitts?
Well, if it was your own, they'd think you're crazy. If it was someone else, you probably wouldn't be alive when you hit the ground.
Howdy.
There's been about 20 pilots that have flown the airplane.
Why don't we turn it around and we'll get you briefed and let you go out and see how you like it. Okay, sounds great. All right.
One of the big problems that you have as an aspiring aerobatic pilot, traditionally you start in an airplane like a decathlon and you fly sportsman. Now you move up into the intermediate advanced and you get a Pitts, completely different kind of airplane. And then to go unlimited, you have to go to some sort of a monoplane like this. You spend a lot of time learning the new airplane instead of the new maneuvers. Something like this, a nice docile airplane that performs well in sportsman, as you move up to the upper levels, all you have to do is learn the new maneuvers.
Several things that we'd like to mention to you that you're gonna notice. First thing is the airplane's just absolutely straightforward. On takeoff roll, we normally leave the tail down, don't raise the tail a lot. The airplane wants to track real straight. We have 2 seatbelt systems. We have the real wide straps for your shoulders because of the layback seating position. Secondary belts are blue, so they're a separate color, different color. The lay down seating position, you will not feel the G's like you do in your Pitts. We have people that get in the airplane and they come back with 8, 9 G's on the meter and think, oh man, I didn't pull more than 6. So, and the second reason is that all of the controls are extremely light. Just reach in there and feel how they feel. There's essentially no friction at all.
Very fluid.
In the ailerons or the elevators. You'll find all the controls pretty well harmonized. I don't think you'll find any surprises there. Again, like I said, snaps 110 knots or less until you really get the feel of it, and not over about 160 knots until you're really sure what you're pulling. Normally, we don't ever use more than about 180 on any of the pulls. From 180 knots full power, you can get virtually 2,300 feet of vertical penetration. So we find we never need more than that. And we've got the G meter right there in the center, so you can kind of keep an eye on it. And I guess the third reason is that the airplane is very, very clean, so it will pick up speed quickly. In order to slow the airplane down, all you got to do is pull the power off. With power off, and the prop forward. On a straight vertical down line, the airplane will only do 140 knots. It just won't go any faster than that. So that big prop out there is acting as a brake. Go ahead and just put right in the middle of the seat and stand up. That's good. You get down and into the shoulder straps. Okay. Just run this straight forward. You're latched in.
Type aircraft, Golf Sierra 200. That's a monoplane. GS-200 is the type aircraft. Same numerals. Jim? Yeah, is that Earl? Is that your new one? Negative. It's a prototype they're testing, a new monoplane. Looks good. Golf Sierra 200, runway 30, cleared for takeoff. Oh, you're on the way back. 65 Yankee to Sky, over the runway, and then you can turn up down, runway 7
Sure what runway they gave you?
It said continue straight into 7, so. Yes.
Proceed as requested on the liftoff. Use caution, remain west of runway 30 for traffic landing.
What do you think? I don't know where to start.
I guess the best response is no response. I'm speechless. You think it and it does it. It's that simple. I would 2 fingers, rested my forearm here. That's all I did. What more can I say? Except learn how to land the thing.
It wasn't bad. You just flared it a little bit high. You had the attitude just nailed. The attitude was perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
I just kept thinking,
Just a little bit up in the air.
gotta get out of that pits mentality. When I lifted off, I'm getting ready to lift out, and I wasn't thinking, thinking pits. It was off. It was that quick. I could not believe it. Whew. Boy, you really have to change the mind. When you're flying a pit, you've got to remember, you're in a monoplane GS-200, not a pits anymore. All right, I'll shut up and get out of this thing.
What all did you do with it?
God. A lot of vertical maneuvers. If you ask me numbers, I can't tell you because I was having too much fun to look. A lot of vertical rolls, vertical snaps, in-out eights, rolling turns, in and out, horizontal snaps, just outside turns, things like that. It's just tremendous response.
What did you think of the roll rate?
Incredible. Even in the vertical, just unbelievable. I was really impressed. I just can't believe the response. I didn't think any other airplane could perform better than a one design. I don't know if I should say this, but the response was a lot more crisp. It really was. It was just a crisp airplane. That's how I would describe it. It's as if your brain is hooked to the controls. You think it, it's done, and it's crisp. Yeah, it's tremendous. Woo!
Everybody that buys one gets a hat.
You are now an official G-200 driver.
I appreciate that. I don't really want to get out of it, but I know I have
We will be providing training and checkouts at the factory in Troutdale, Oregon for builders who would like to bring their airplanes to Portland and finish their final assembly there. We will be offering a 10-hour aerobatic course for those people who are interested in brushing up on their proficiency and making sure that they're ready to fly and make the first flight in their G-200. We also will be offering flight test services, as a lot of the kit manufacturers currently do, where we will have our own test pilots available to do the first flight in your kit-built G-200.
Flown a lot of different kind of airplanes, both military fighters that were exciting, a lot of aerobatic airplanes, but this is the tops.
Ground, experimental 5296 Echo, taxi, VFR eastbound. Experimental 96 Echo, roger, taxi to runway 30, winds 2800, altimeter 3014. Roger, going out 30. And 96 Echo, say type aircraft, sir? Yeah, 96 Echo is a Giles G-200. It's a competition aerobatic airplane. Looks like a fun little airplane. Who makes it? The G-200 is built by Acrotech Aviation. We're up in Troutdale, Oregon. How do you reach you guys? Give us a call up there at area code 503-666-2284. And we got a little information packet that we like to send out to folks. It's got all the specs and an article and pretty much any of the information that you need. So yeah, we'll send that out to you, or just call us up and we'd love to talk about it too. You can contact Tower and Ready. Have a good flight, sir. You got it. We'll see you on the trip back.